Good morning, United Kingdom. Good morning.
Scotland.
Good morning. We've got Lisa on straight away. We normally have 5 minutes before we invite the guests on, but we've got you on straight away, which is excellent. No, it's perfectly fine. We like to play we like to do things off the fly. It's nice to do things in a different format. Lakhi Singh, good morning. What is the weather like there in London?
Morning. The weather is very nice and bright. Morning, Lisa. How you doing? Lovely to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Lisa, what part of sunny England are you? What part of England are you at, Lisa?
I'm from Scotland.
Scotland?
Just outside Edinburgh.
All right, you're just outside Edinburgh, right? Okay, so which bit of outside Edinburgh?
Newton Grange that I'm in. It's just outside Edinburgh, just on the outskirts.
Excelente. Okay, is that where you are now?
It is, yes. I'm at home today.
Excellent. What's the weather like outside in sunny Edinburgh or outside Edinburgh?
It's always miserable. There's one answer, always. Get the occasional sun.
Is it raining?
It's not raining, but it looks a bit grey.
Grey. Well, if you got rain, then without rain, you don't get your cornflakes. That's why I said day before yesterday. No rainy, no cornflakesy. Okay. Lisa Leslie, because you're on straight away, I'm going to focus on you straight away because you're on with us. Give us a flavor, a snippet. I'll tell you what I know about you. And I know that you've been a hairdresser, and not just a hairdresser, a very successful hairdresser who's won the British Awards, I think, twice.
Yes.
And you've got a nickname. You've got a bit of a nickname for yourself, Lisa Swift. That's not because you own the Swift codes to all the banks. That's because you've been working with a property sales company called, I think, is it Swift Sales or something? Is that right?
Swift Sale and Lakhi Property, which is the investment side.
Excelente. Okay, give us a flavor. Tell us about your life story. Where did you start? Where did you go to? Were you always just outside Edinburgh, or were you somewhere else? Or are you really from some other part of England? What was the story?
I've been brought up in Scotland, in Edinburgh, and I traveled the world on cruise ships for years when I first started hairdressing, so that was amazing. Traveled the world nearly twice, so I feel really grateful for that experience.
Excelente. That sounds very exciting, Lisa. Very what's it now? Exotic, I think. Around the world twice.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Can't hear. Okay. Is it our connection or is it?
Could be me.
Around maybe, Lisa. Is that probably why you're getting a problem in your connection?
Say that again.
Are you moving around at all?
Well, I'm trying to hold my phone here. That's
right. Okay. So it's probably why you've got some problems. Okay. So you've been around the world twice. Is that right?
Yes, on cruise liner. So I done a maiden voyage on the QE2. I done the world cruise. I went to the Caribbean. I went to Alaska, Russia, Australia. Also done the Grand Orient. So that was an absolutely amazing experience. I was very young at the time.
How old?
I was 19 and I came back when I was 22.
3 years. It's a bit like one of those movies, The Stowaway. Somebody who gets lost on a ship and comes back Oh, so did you have a long beard? Did you have a long beard? No one recognised you when you came back?
Sorry, the volume's away again.
Pardon?
The sound keeps going a bit funny, so bear with me.
That's okay, don't worry, don't worry. Fix your internet, get yourself settled. I'm going to jump over to Lakhi now. Lakhi, you have a lady there who's actually been around the world twice. What do you say to that?
Say that again.
Okay, are you back? Have you got connectivity? Is your connectivity good now?
I don't think it's brilliant. I think I'm possibly best just.
Okay, why don't you log in again, Lisa? Lisa, why don't you try and log in again, and then we'll try and better your connection.
Right, okay. I think it's okay, actually. Let's just...
Are you all right now?
That's going to cause me...
Are you all right now? Okay. So the most important question is... Okay. The most important question is, do you know William Wallace?
Do I know...
William Wallace? Braveheart?
William Wallace. Oh, he was a good friend back in the day.
he was he on the liner with you back in the day, walking around with his painted face?
Yeah, with his kilt on, running up the hills.
Yes, with his kilt on the top floor.
William Wallace was actually Welsh.
Yeah, William
Wallace was Welsh.
Yeah.
No, he was Gaelic, I think.
Okay, maybe he didn't have Wales at the time, so maybe
it was Scottish. It was from Scotland, but he was, I think, Gaelic.
Scotland, yeah.
Was he Scotland? Yeah, he was from Scotland.
Well, he would have spoken Gaelic.
He was what? He was working at Foot Locker, you say?
What you can do, I think, Lisa, to fix your problem is to put your volume up a bit on your phone. I think I told Lisa to put the volume a bit lower on her phone so it wouldn't make a double noise. Sometimes you get a...
How's that? That's
I'm gonna...
isn't it?
I'll make it easy for you.
Can you hear
us? That seems better.
Okay, excellent. Now we're better. Right, okay. So... William Wallace was working in Foot Locker and then went on a world cruise with you, walking on the top deck wearing his kilt so everyone could see him from below. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we were chasing haggis.
Something like that. Okay, tell us now, Leslie, you went at the age of 19, you came back at 22. How did it feel to come back on dry land after 3 years?
Well, I think because I was young and busy, I just went on to the next thing, pushed myself forward, never gave up.
Excellent. So, what was the inspiration to go on a cruise liner? Were you working, or were you literally sipping pina coladas on the side of the swimming pool on the actual cruiser? Were you working?
We did. It was an amazing experience. Working as a hairdresser. First of all, we went down to London and we done the training.
So did you try to cut anybody's hair? Were you cutting people's hair whilst there was a storm on? Were you doing it? Were you? Yes. Is that you were doing that? Were you?
Yes, my stabilizers weren't very good.
Stabilizers. Okay. Lakhisingh, have you ever had to cut someone's hair on the sea, on an ocean liner once there's a storm outside?
Yeah, I have been on the sea at a 45-degree angle in many storms.
Lots of storms, right? Lakhisingh.
No, I haven't had to do that. No.
I can wake up in the morning on the
I think Lisa can't hear clearly, So there's probably a delay in the conversation. Is there a delay in the conversation, Lisa?
No, I don't think so. Just crackling a little bit.
Okay, perfect. Right. So give us the background. You come back after 3 years. You're on the liner. You come back onto dry shore. What happens next?
Well, after that, I got a job in Angus Gordon and Frederick in a hairdressing salon. And from there, I got offered a franchise, which was my own business.
We're going to reconnect you, Lisa. We're going to reconnect you. We can't hear you clearly. We're going to reconnect you, okay? Just hold on and we'll get you reconnected. Lakhi Singh?
Hi, mate.
Right, okay. So we've got Leslie, who's a hairdresser, who's been working in a company called Property, what's it now? Swift Property Sales, I think. So do you know of Swift Property Sales and what they do?
Yeah, they're a sourcing company. They source properties and sell properties.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I had a chat with Lisa last night for 10 minutes, just have a quick review of what she does.
Mm-hmm.
They're based focusing on the in Scotland and 2-3 key areas, near Edinburgh being one of them, and also around that region.
Yeah.
And Lisa's beginning to get into the buying and selling of property. So she's just bought a property and she's about to flip it. So she's quite new to property, but she wants to get into bigger developments and build up her knowledge. But I think the key point she was saying yesterday was that she's trying to increase her knowledge of property so she can get into larger. Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
Okay, Lisa. Right, it's better now. So you're back. Okay, so you come back from two trips around the world, 2 years on cruises. You're cutting hair in sea storms, so you know how to cut hair. You've never got a haircut wrong, and you come back on dry land, and all of a sudden, what happens next?
Well, I went to Angus Gordon and I worked there. That's a hairdressing salon in Edinburgh, Frederick Street. Beautiful city, Edinburgh. Then I got a franchise after that. So it was my own business. So I was in business from the age of maybe 24-year-old. So yeah, I was very young and I've had my businesses most of my life from them.
Yes.
So that was that, and then I opened.
What type of business were you in? What was the business, Lisa?
It's a hairdressing franchise called Angus Gordon.
Axe Corner.
Say that again.
I think there's a bad. Come closer to your mobile, I think. You've got some problem. We can't hear you clearly. Let's try and reconnect her again, yeah? Okay.
I think it's the Scottish internet. It's a bit dodgy.
No, it's probably just internet. I think your connectivity probably is a bit. Are you on wireless or are you on the landline? Are you on a fixed line broadband? What are you on?
Wireless, yeah.
Wireless. That's probably why then. Okay. So, so you ran a franchise, a hairdressing franchise. How many years?
Sorry, connection.
How many years? 5, 10, 15 years? How many years? Can't hear you.
That's better.
Try and put your headset on if you can. You want to put your headset on? Put your earpieces on, probably better.
Having problems here.
Having problems? Right. Can you hear it now?
I think you need to put on your Braveheart voice because doesn't sound like Lisa's actually can hear the English voice. You can only hear the Scottish voice. If you try the Scottish voice, and she might hear us. Hi, hey Lisa, how you doing?
Hello.
That's not Scottish, Lakhi. That was some.
Did you hear that, Lisa?
That was a good effort, Lakhi. We're quite impressed.
That was a new Scottish. That's
You like the attempt anyway.
right. Okay, Lisa, you can't hear us that well, I think, and your reception's quite bad. So what I'll try and do is I'll try and flip back to you every once in a while when we feel that your connectivity is better. Okay?
Okay, it seems okay just now, so we're good.
Excellent. Okay, so tell us, how many years were you running the franchise Hairdresser for?
I had the franchise for about 3 years before I opened my own business in Portobello High Street, which is in Edinburgh.
So what was that?
So that was a hairdressing salon, and that was really successful straight away the minute I opened the doors. So that was amazing. I built that up. I had a team of 12. So we've done lots of training, we built up lots of clients, and as I say, it was a great success, so I really can't complain.
Excellent. And then when how many years did you do that for then, your own place?
I had that business for 10 years.
Right. And how many years ago was that then?
Oh, about 9 years ago.
9 years ago. So what have you done in between closing that business up or selling it and now? What are you doing in the last 9 years?
I've tried, I'm quite entrepreneurial, so I've done absolutely everything. I took some time out to look after my daughter, and I converted my garage at home into a salon and took my clients there. I sold positive thinking books, big sacks on my back, going to the post office. I've done furniture websites. I've sold ebooks.
You've done everything. You're a bit of a conglomerate out in Edinburgh. Excellente. Right, Lakhisingh, have you ever come across someone with so much versus? I think there's one common theme we've seen in a lot of the ladies that we've had on, and even some of the gentlemen, is that international travel has made them somewhat more resilient and more versatile and slightly more charismatic in the sense of taking risks as well. What do you say to that? Does travel, is that correct?
It does.
I'd say that I think basically, yeah, I think Lisa's obviously been around the world twice, so she's seen a lot, and obviously having seen so many different cultures, seeing what's happening in the world, probably makes you a bit more, let's say, stronger person, probably gives you a lot more understanding of things, gives you probably a lot more confidence as well, because living in a city, I suppose, like Edinburgh, it's not you can just become just very local in your understanding of things. So I think she's obviously got a very international dimension.
Excellent. Right. Big shout out to Mandy, Sonia, John Smith, and Deborah. Yes, Deborah, favorite Deborah as well. Okay, big shout out. Thank you so much. Good morning to everyone. Okay, I think we've got slightly better connectivity now. So, yeah. So I think international travel. You went around the world twice. So tell me, was the same hotel and the same people there the second time around?
No, I jumped ship.
You were a stowaway. So you're a stowaway.
Stowaway, yes. I'm still a stowaway.
Excellent. Okay, so what had changed on the second time? You went on a different route, did you?
Yeah, well, my first ship, they tended to match your ships to your personality at the time. That was the thing. So my first ship was Holland, America, and I went to the Caribbean and Alaska. So we kept just doing that constantly. And then I got off there and I went on a Grand Orient cruise. So that was absolutely amazing, the Grand Orient. And then from there, I went on the QE2 and I done the World Cruise. And then after the World Cruise, we're down Southampton, New York. But of course, you passed the Bay Biscay over France in the night. So you would fall out your cabin bed and you would wake up in the morning on the floor.
Right. Okay. So you went on different routes, and Southampton, New York, was that the Titanic? Yes. Was it the same? Is the same route?
Yeah. Luckily enough, it was more successful than the Titanic.
Did you end up dancing with a guy called Dicaprio on the lower ground, and then come up to the top floor and pretend you were an aeroplane while he was singing to you?
I never did, but I think I've got him now.
Excellente. Lakhisingh, can you imagine yourself on the Titanic, move with your arms out, flying around, pretending that you're an aeroplane with your ballet tights on? Can you do that? Can you imagine that? Isn't it going to be a bit chilly out there?
Yeah, that sounds like.
Well, I've never imagined it until you now.
Giving you images. Lakhisingh.
Lisa's saying she's never imagined it.
She never imagined it.
But I think every time you ask a question, I think Lisa thinks it's being addressed to her. So because she can't really hear us properly. But anyway,
you can't hear us properly, Lisa. Can't hear us.
I can hear you now.
Great. Sorry. Yes, Lakhisingh, continue, please.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've had the privilege, but I love to sort of dress up in ballet clothes and dance around the top of a ship. It sounds like a sort of good fun. Good
fun, yes. So after coming onto dry land, Lisa is now a bit of a business entrepreneur. How many years have you been working with this property sales company? What was it called? Swift
Sale.
Yeah, Lisa Swift. Since when did you become Lisa Swift?
I became Lisa Swift in August, just after the first lockdown. So that's really when I had the change into property. So very new at it.
Just before the lockdown?
Just after the lockdown.
Excellent. That was coincidental. Clever move, I would say. Lakhi, has she missed out on anything? Or is this perfect timing for her?
Well, I think there's never the wrong time if you've got the right knowledge, the right contacts, and understand the market. I think Lisa's very knowledgeable about the local market in Edinburgh from what we discussed yesterday. So she's saying that the Edinburgh market actually always stays strong and it's going up. And because it's a historical city, and it's got let's just say, fantastic architecture, some amazing buildings, really. Obviously, the castle. There's a lot of demand for flats in that area, or access to sort of property in that area from other parts of the world and Scotland. So yeah, I think she's actually got herself landed in something that's quite good. But I think you've got to understand the dimensions of Edinburgh. It's quite different from the rest of Scotland, I would say. So Lisa probably can fill us in, I think, on the rest.
So, okay, so Lisa, what's unique about Edinburgh? What is it that keeps Edinburgh afloat? Is it the Royal Bank of Scotland? Is it St Andrews College? What is it?
Well, there's been a 12% rise over the years in Edinburgh, so the prices do rise. They hold their value because it's always well sought after. So it is an amazing place. We have beautiful buildings. We have a lot of character. Certainly your Airbnbs are popular in the centre of town. You've got students round about, all the universities. So I think there's the business to have the properties there and to get them utilised. So they sell well, the rental yields are good. So it's a win-win in Edinburgh, really.
Okay, so you really actually operate in Edinburgh, even though you live outside Edinburgh. So I assume your real market is Edinburgh.
Edinburgh and Midlothian, but because I'm part of a team of 14 in Swift Sale, we actually do lots of different areas, Glasgow, right over the Scottish belt, really, anywhere in Scotland. But yes, I'm Lisa Swift in Edinburgh and Midlothian.
Okay, and what Lothian? And so what about Aberdeen? Is that a way off from you, or is that also quite a...
For us, yeah. Our strength really is focusing on the markets we know. We're stronger that way, and we're experts at it.
Excellent. And what about the volume of business? How many deals do you do a month or a week?
Well, between the team, that's a lot of deals. But with me being new, I've just been concentrating on one property at a time because it's a learning curve. So yes, sourcing property at the moment mainly, doing the build, and then of course coming out the other end and getting the property on the market. So we're actually just doing a property at the moment, which has been amazing, charming cottage.
Is that in Edinburgh or is it outside in Lothian?
It's in Grange, so it's a traditional mining cottage.
Excellent. Right. Okay. So I think there may be an angle there for you, Lisa, to join up or become one of the leaders in one of the LPA property subgroups, because I think we've got groups, and I think we've got one that's dedicated for Scotland. Is that right, Lakhi? Can you explain to us the concept of the Facebook groups that we've got set up over the whole of the UK, and why Lisa would be an excellent person to be an administrator on that group?
So Lisa, we've got obviously the one that you probably know about, the Alternative Property Business Solutions Community, which has now got 1,200 members and really started a few months back. But what the idea is to help people with property business and getting new income opportunities. So what we've done is we've established groups across the United Kingdom, Scotland, Wales, Newcastle, Manchester, Birmingham, southeast, southwest, London. So and also Leeds as well. So basically what we're looking to do now is to get people to particularly get more engagement in those groups. So we're getting a lot of positive response in this group. We're getting 100 new members a month. But for the Scottish group, what we're looking to do is we're also looking to extend our reach in terms of helping people across the country with all our solutions. Because as the market tightens a bit, maybe not in Edinburgh, but maybe more so the rest of the country, Edinburgh probably will tighten when the interest rates go up, but that'll be like every other part of the country. But what can happen?
It's an interesting question you bring out, Lakhi. You seem to suggest that there are bubble communities around the country that aren't being affected by the environment, but surely if you're buying a property that falls into one region that's crashed in value, how can you stop someone buying a property next door and asking for the discount that they can see across the line? Lisa, how does that transmit, and how does Edinburgh manage to keep its value irrespective of the fact the rest of the country is in a bit of a flux?
Well, I think because it's historic and there's such a good economy in Edinburgh. So I think that's how it holds its value. That the properties are always sought after, I should say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it just seems to keep on rising. I think Edinburgh has the Midas touch when it comes to property.
The Midas touch. Okay, for those people who don't know what the Midas touch is, it is a touch that turns everything to gold. Talking of gold,
yes.
Lakhi Singh, are you gifted with the Midas touch as well? Because we know everything that you talk and touch turns to gold as well.
Yes, that's the plan anyway.
Okay, so Lakhi Singh.
Yep. So basically,
are you gifted with the Midas touch as well?
Well, I would like to think so, yeah.
Okay, so in that matter, I'm trying to work out if everything is going on in Edinburgh. Surely that's one of those 5-star areas that you mentioned yesterday should be a place for people to look for investment. Is that correct, Lakhi?
It is, yeah.
Is that right?
So.
Okay.
I think it is. I think basically the 5-star area doesn't have to be an area that's actually going up now. It could be an area that's actually struggling, and that with price increases, because you can get a better bang for your buck. So I think all depends on the strategy that you're deploying. If you're buying to develop or to add value, and then you can get your sales because there's a lot more buyers in that area because there's demand.
Yeah.
I think if you've got that strategy, then Edinburgh is pretty good because you're more likely to be able to achieve your sales if you're looking to exit. But if you've got more of a yield strategy, then Edinburgh may not be as good because the prices are already quite high. To access the market and get the yield you want may not be so easy. So you may be better off going to another city around the United Kingdom where it's a lower price.
It's interesting, Lakhi. Okay, before you continue, Lakhi, this is interesting. From what I understand, or what we've discussed in the previous, conversations and live streams, is it the area that comes first, or is it the actual acquisition that comes first? Because it seems to be Lisa's in Edinburgh, and obviously she's saying Edinburgh has its own dimensions. It's a unique city across the whole of the United Kingdom. But is that the important factor when you buy a property? Because you could quite easily buy a property anywhere as long as you're buying it at the right price, and it could turn out to have the Midas touch for you. Lisa, why so especially Edinburgh? Is Glasgow a bit more volatile? Is it not as good as Edinburgh?
It is. I mean, in Edinburgh, it really varies. You're a 6 to 12% yield on your rentals.
How many percent?
Between 6 and 12. It's really varied depends on what area that you're in. But in Glasgow, roughly you're about 10 to 11% yield.
How much?
It is quite similar to Edinburgh. There's obviously some beautiful parts of Glasgow. It just depends on what you're buying and what area you're buying in.
Okay. So both have got a good yield, but what you're saying is Edinburgh is a bit more stable. Is that why it's got the edge?
It's got the edge, but I think because of all the universities, the tourism, there's lots of options to turn the properties either into a business, flip it over, as Lakhi said, it sells well. So I think it is just all the little things.
So what type of people are looking to invest in Edinburgh at the moment? Even with all. So what type of people are looking to invest into Edinburgh? What type of investors do you get then? Are they foreign or are they local?
Local, yeah. I've been talking to an investor in Glasgow who would like to come to Edinburgh and do Airbnbs. So certainly that business side, that's a long-term rent for them. So yeah, it's things like that that are really quite popular in Edinburgh. Also your family homes, doing your flips. Things done up are really popular. You know, people don't want to do a lot of work. So this is where we're amazing as property developers, aren't we? We flip it over and give them something nice and shiny and new.
Okay, Lakhi Singh. Generally, across the whole of the United Kingdom, you're saying there are certain areas that have got their uniqueness. Will they be affected in the crash? Will they become difficult areas in the crash?
Yeah, I mean, it will become more difficulties when the crash happens, because if interest rates go up, when they go up, the buyers are not going to have the same bang in their buck to be able to buy the same things, and the sellers are going to be looking for the same price as in a good market, but they're not going to be able to get it. So I think the dimensions, even in the good cities, will change because there'll be less buyers, and you'll probably have a lot more stock on the market. So the buyers will be able to pick and choose. At the moment, they may have them, in certain pockets, because there's lots of demand. Properties may sell quickly, but in that time, what will happen is you're going to have for every 10 properties now that are up for sale, you can probably say you'll have 20 buyers. That time you'll have every 10 properties that are sale. You might have 2 buyers for every 10 properties, and then there'll be 8 people sort of twiddling their thumbs, waiting for a buyer to turn up, and finding that because their prices are too high, they have to come down to attract those 2 buyers. So that's my sort of take on it.
Right, okay, Lakhi Singh. A question that's come through from Sonia Lambert. She says, and we have a big shout out from Amar Ali as well. Amar, good morning. A question to both of you, I think. And that is, well, probably more to Lisa, because you're in Scotland. Is it
Yes.
Ayrshire? Ayrshire, is that a good area to invest in?
Sorry, I lost you there.
Ayrshire. Is that a good investment area?
Ayrshire, mate. You can't pronounce it properly.
Ayrshire.
What is it? Ayrshire.
Yeah.
Ayrshire.
So at least
Ayrshire,
I think
right.
Scotland, mate. You need to be able to
is
speak the
a
language.
really good investment.
Yes.
Ayrshire is a nice part of Scotland. It really is.
It's a nice place, is it? As you got good income.
It's a good investment.
Excellente. Okay. So Scotland, in its essence, obviously, has its own quirk. What about the laws in Scotland? I've been told, Lakhi, the land laws, the Landlord and Tenant Act, general sort of like law in Scotland is quite much different than the rest of the United Kingdom. Is that something that people should be aware of or should think before investing if they are going into Scotland?
I think now we've got Lisa, I think we can always ask her. Generally, I think when you're purchasing property, there's different regulations around offer price. I think once you offered, I think you have to complete on the offer that you've given. You can't change the price from what I remember. And I think the other thing is that the other issue is that the legal work and the way they conduct their conveyancing is different. So I think from what I've understood, the seller has to pay for the buyer's survey, from what I remember. Is that right, Lisa?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, you do a home report and survey, so all that's done. And you're absolutely right. You can't change your price. You just literally put your price in, and if you're the winner, that's it. You get to buy the house. So it does work slightly different from what it does down south. The Scottish laws are quite different.
So which is better? Is it the south or Scotland? What's better? What's a bit more? Scotland is better. Right. Okay. So you just started. You're on your journey. What's the goal, Lisa? Where are you attempting to get to? Are you going around the world again to end up back in Scotland? Or are you attempting to start off something which is bigger?
Well, I think Scotland's the place to be at the moment, so I'm going to stick with Scotland, settle myself down here. So I'll be concentrating on Edinburgh, go to Scotland only. But again, there's no need to go anywhere else. It's a great investment, great returns. So is
it true the Scottish people are tight? Are they very tight with their money? Are they good with their money, Scottish people?
We are very tight with our money. Very tight with our money. But we like our good quality on our builds.
Lakhi Singh, your experiences of Scotland?
On her builds. But
what,
they're very
builds?
Yeah, I like it. We like a good quality build. But save the pennies, save the pounds. That's our saying.
Save the pennies, save the pounds. Lakhi Singh, save the pound. Does that make sense to you, Lakhi? Being it that you are a bit of a whiz kid when it comes to accounting, a bit of a sort of like a sharp tool when it comes to your numbers. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think it does. I think everything comes back down to the numbers. And in Scotland, I think the culture is very much to be on the numbers anyway, because they've had so many fights with England, and England has probably tried to run rings with them around Scotland in terms of the numbers. So I think they've had to learn the hard way, and the numbers have become like super important now on the list of Scottish priorities, I would say. But joking aside, I think numbers in any business that you're doing, you really got to be on the numbers first before you look at anything. And I think having a very sort of frugal attitude to buying properties and structuring your forecasts and organizing your exit and your profit and all the components that go with it are really going to be critical to Lisa's success. So I think from what I've understood, Lisa is also looking to develop her own portfolio now, and she's just bought her first investment property, and I think she's pretty much got it ready. I think tomorrow, I think today, she's putting it on the market. So I think it'll be interesting to find out more about what Lisa did in terms of her numbers.
That was actually through Swift Sale. It's Jonathan and Scott. With me having my L plates on, I've stood back with this one. So the numbers,
the numbers.
You're probably with this property with the numbers. I sourced that and negotiated the deal for 170. The end value is 230, and the build is about 25,000. So
very tight.
There's about 35k in that deal, so that's your average.
Okay, that's quite tight though, isn't it, Lisa? It's not really a lot of money coming out of it.
I think the advantage that Lisa's got, because she understands the marketplace, the issue a lot of developers are having around the United Kingdom, outside Scotland anyway, let's say England and Wales, are that the sales aren't so strong. So if she's quite clear the sales are strong, so whatever she buys, even if there's a £10,000 profit in it and there's minimal time and effort spent, then she's got an opportunity to get, to say, the exit, then her profit is pretty much guaranteed in her mind, is what I presume she's thought about. So she might be making a lower margin, I'm guessing, at £35,000. That's actually works out to about
10%.
35,000 on, yeah, it's about 10%. Most people look at about 20%. But if she's got a guaranteed exit, then I think that's pretty much, I think, what she's thought of. I think so. She's a cut above the rest in her strategy.
Cut above the rest. Very clever. Very witty, I would say.
Yeah.
How do you say to that, Lisa? Do you reckon you're a cut above the rest?
Well, yeah, I think because we've got strengths and numbers, we're a very well-oiled machine. We source, we flip, we sell it, we've got everything lined up, so everything's done quickly. We have a building company, part of the team, Smythe and Malloy. So, I mean, it really is a system we've got. It's bang, bang, bang. So you maybe are taking a little bit of profit, but the speed that we do it and the popularity of getting it sold is amazing. So I guess we could do a little bit more volume there because we have an excellent team set up.
Now, just a quick video, Sal, is that somebody tried to do the same, and if they, let's just say, coming across the border from England to get into the Edinburgh market, they may not actually be able to do what Lisa does, because they are going to need to know where to get the properties from to get them cheap enough. Secondly, they're going to need to have a good enough building team, and they're going to have to be just as tight as their builders, the Scottish are. And then they've got to be able to have exit with buyers. And if they haven't got that access to buyers, they have to go through a long-winded process of dealing with agents, which can be quite slow and tedious. So, and you've got to know the right sort of agents that delivery. So, Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, because obviously people in London, you know, they shouldn't really be talking about Edinburgh, really, should they? But am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're welcome up if you can get in. You can get the properties, yeah. But I think it is difficult if you're from London because you don't have the contacts. You don't have the speed of doing things, the bills, things like that. But I mean, another part of what we do is we have a whole separate sourcing company, Fivestar. So we're a property solutions company. We can actually take you from removals. We can help any seller with their property when we're sourcing. We do lots of services. We've got advisors, brokers. We really are a one-stop shop. So everything's happening at the speed of lightning, really.
Okay.
We can help anybody who's selling their house, and that's really satisfying that we've got all that set up.
So where's the source of most of your properties, Lisa? Lisa, where do you source most of your properties?
Edinburgh, Glasgow, you know, Scottish Central Belt with the team. But for me, it's certainly Midlothian and Edinburgh.
So how do you get your properties? Where do you get them from?
Well, we have Fivestar, so that's a lead generation. So people will go on and try and get their house valued. We'll contact them, go and view it. We really relate to their situation, and this is where I feel a crossover from hairdressing to swift sale. We care about who's selling the house to us. We set up solutions, so if they need a removal, if they need anything done at all, we can accommodate them.
Okay.
So I think it's the service and the solutions, and I think really it's the three parts getting put together. We're looking after the investor, we're buying the houses, everything's set up. So I think it's going back to that, it's a well-oiled machine that I'm involved in. So that's
excellent. Excellent. Okay, going on to the saying of the week, because we've got the saying of the week we've not covered because we had a lot of problems with the reception at the beginning. Lisa, have you come across any hardships that have made you stronger? I mean, in your various, business opportunities, and you're going around the world twice, and you're setting up. What type of hardships did you come across, and did they make you strong?
I've had a really charmed life, very lucky. The last 10 years have been a bit more difficult. Fasten your seatbelt time, bumpy ride. But yes, certainly coming out the other end. I think I've kissed a few frogs to get the right business for me, to get back on track. So I definitely feel the passion for property, and I feel that can give me and my family what I need to progress for my future.
Okay.
But yes, definitely had strengths and hardships. When you run a business, 1 minute, you have money coming out your ears and it's all going so well, but you really got to keep contingency funds all the time, because you just don't know when there's that downturn. So I suppose in business in general, it's really not that different from property.
Excellent. So, Lakhi, have you got money coming out of an orifice?
You mean like golden goose?
You're like the golden goose of the square mile. Okay, a question for you, Lakhi Singh. A lot of people are asking, what and when is that famous day, your birthday, where everyone gets to send you a special card or something, or they can take that? When's your birthday, Lakhi Singh?
It was a long time ago, in 1967.
1937, you say?
Yeah, 1937. Yeah, it was a long time ago.
1937.
Birthday's come and gone.
Okay, so I mean, when was your birthday? Because it's been asked by lots of the people on the group. When is your birthday, sir?
April, Aries, through and through.
April, Aries, through and through. Right. Okay. So we've got a big shout out from Mina as well, and from Zishan, giving us a big shout out, saying that they love the fact they know when you are, but you're an Aries. What sign are you, Lisa? Do you believe in the signs?
Yes, I do. I love all that. I'm a very spiritual person. Yeah, I'm a Libra, so I'm the scales, always on
You're
balance.
a Libra. Okay, is that
Yes.
Libra, the lion, or is it Libra the fish?
It's Libra, the scales. So
The scales, that's right. You're
coffee cup.
measured. The scales, I like that. So you're the Libra of the scales. And Aries, what sign is that, Lakhi Singh? Is that a frog?
That's a flower.
Flower.
Pink flower.
Excellent. Yeah. Right. Okay. So you're a Aries, one is a Libra. And what is your understanding of the signs? Are the signs right for the British economy, Lakhi? What sign do you think is United Kingdom as a whole?
I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but basically the whole United Kingdom at the moment is in a state of flux. So the only place that's actually buoyant, I think we heard that Manchester was quite buoyant yesterday. We heard now that Edinburgh is buoyant. We know that London's buoyant as well. So there's money around, but that's only in the main cities. But it's only a matter of time before things tighten on those areas. But I think you've got an added advantage of you've got control of the whole supply chain like Lisa has. You can source, you can develop, you can source at low cost, you can develop at low cost, and then you can sell at low cost with easy access to buyers. So all of that is irrelevant to how bad things are going to get to some degree, because if you've got the right strategy to be able to, with the right contacts, then I think you'll make really good money. To, as Lisa says, start getting all your pennies together, because when the market tightens, then if you've got a lot of cash, you are then able to pick up some very good bargains. So I think that's what everybody should be aiming for now, to tighten their belt, get their cash ready, and when the market tightens, they've got the ability to pick and choose a lot more property. So the market is going to become a buyer's market. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Lisa, I mean, what star sign do you think Scotland is then?
Well, our symbol's a unicorn. I think we're Cancer, the water sign. We're the crab. So we've got a hard shell in here. We're hard.
I think that England is a Leo then, because Leo, the British sign, I think is it a lion? Is it, Lakhi? Well, it's a unicorn, a lion, and a half of a.
Sound again. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. Lakhi Singh. So I would reckon England is like a Leo, possibly. By the way, Sonia is also Aries, Lakhi. So you've got a commonality there. Sonia says she's also Aries. Snap. So, right, we're coming to the end of today's drive session. I think there's really a bad reception on with Lisa. I think it's gone back again. It's starting to play up again. Can you hear us, Lisa?
Yeah. Say that again, sorry.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think what Lisa failed to tell us, that she is actually going on her third trip, and she's actually in the cruise ship now, and the Wi-Fi is not so good in the middle of the Pacific. So I think before you left.
Excelente, excelente. So was the Wi-Fi any good on the ship, Lisa?
They never had Wi-Fi in my day. They had teletext.
So you'd have to ring home by smoke signals or something, setting one of the deck floor chairs on light.
Teletext is in.
Excellent.
Come and find you and hand you.
Okay, so we're down to the last few minutes. Lisa, it's a pleasure having you on, even though the reception wasn't good. Maybe getting a booster or that's all right. To try and get internet sorted out, and we'll have you on again. I do suggest you try to join the Scottish group, because I think you'll be an excellent person there to give lots of feedback on Scotland and Edinburgh in particular. Lakhi Singh, any last words for us?
So last words are that I think we're heading up to Christmas now, not long to go. And I don't think many people are that worried about what's happening. They're just looking forward to the Christmas. I think if you're with the Alternative Property Business Solutions community, you should really start thinking ahead about what's going to happen in the economy, start planning and starting getting organized, start joining the groups and start commentating. And if you are involved in property business or wanting a new income, then come up with any questions or information you need from us, because now's the time not to being merry so much, but I think is to batten down the hatches and save the pennies. And you spent on Christmas a penny that could be used for your family or for your business, because things are going to get tight. So you got to hold on to your seat, or be in the arena. To be in the arena, I think you need to be literally now start planning and thinking about what you're doing, and be a lot more frugal, and not really allow the governments, the banks, your environment actually dictate your financial freedom.
Excellent, sir. Thank you so much for that summary. Lots of good advice there from Lakhi Singh, the property fixer, as usual, coming to the last few seconds. Lakhi Singh, the property fixer in the square mile, the Uber, the mover, the shaker, the maker, the ballet dancer now, obviously, with your tights on, and making classical moves. So speak to you tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. again, in the drive time with Lakhi Singh. We should have, I think, Minda Singh on. Is that right, tomorrow? Minda Singh Johal on tomorrow. So, bach ke mundiya.